Hey guys, welcome guys. So in this crash course, in this TypeGraphql crash course, I'm going to be the one taking you through all about TypeGraphql and how to develop TypeGraphql in your backend with TypeScript. Okay, um, let's get on with it. And before we start, this course is for people. This crash course is for people that already like have an idea of GraphQL, Node.js, and Express. You don't have to be like don't have to be an expert in those before you come to this course, but you have to like learn a little. You can go and check other videos and come back to get this course to learn type GraphQL. Alright, so let's open this type GraphQL docs. Okay, so according to type GraphQL docs, what they define type GraphQL as? So it said type GraphQL is a library that makes it's solving many problems with TypeScript sometimes. The main point is that developing a GraphQL API with Node.js with TypeScript is sometimes a bit of pain, but that's where type GraphQL comes in. Type GraphQL makes the process more enjoyable. Yeah. So basically type GraphQL main goal is to help us define they help us in defining our GraphQL schema using TypeScript classes and a bit of decorator magic. Okay, decorator magic. Let's know what's a decorator. Decorator is programming. Yeah, decorators. What's a decorator? Let's know the definition of decorator. Okay, in object-oriented programming, the decorator pattern is that's too complex. Okay, according to me, I think of decorators as functions with some functionality you can reuse. Like decorators are like functions that return functionality that you can reuse. I don't know if that's clear, but well, let's move on. Okay, they give us an example here. Don't worry about this, but we'll go on. And also, before we begin with the course, you have to like clone. I made the boilerplate. You have to clone this repository because this repository is our basic setup here. I'm going to explain what's going on here, but you have to clone it first and install the packages in your local machine for you to go on this course. I'm going to drop the link to the GitHub and the link to the repo in the bio. So basically there's nothing much here. First of all, in our package of JSON, we're using Apollo Server Express to help us set up our backend GraphQL server. Express, GraphQL, reflect metadata, that's from TypeGraphql, and also type GraphQL. Should understand that. Okay, and our tsconfig.json, obviously it's a TypeScript file, so we have to have this. When you clone the repo, it comes with everything. And also our index.js file. What's going on here is we're importing Apollo Server Express and we're starting our server here. We're passing in our schema. But now we only have one resolver. Yeah. I don't think you don't have to like understand. Okay, I've not installed it. I've not installed package. Okay, I just have to run. The package is installing. You don't have to understand what's going on here, but I just want you to know that this is just a basic Apollo server. As basic Apollo server to help us generate our GraphQL server. So yep, so our main focus is type GraphQL, not this. Probably in the future I can get a course out on Apollo server, Express, and type GraphQL. All right, so let's go to the docs now. So let's see. So I'm going to do, so first of all, I'm going to be talking about Okay. First of all, I'm going to be talking about GraphQL types. What are types in TypeGraphql? Let's go. Okay, installation, get started. Okay, types and field. Yeah. So, okay, so the main idea of TypeGraphql is to automatically generate schema definition from TypeScript classes to avoid the need for schema definition files and interfaces describing the schema. Okay, basically, the main goal of TypeGraphql is to generate GraphQL schemas but from TypeScript classes. So let me explain that. So probably if you are written GraphQL, you're going to see that to generate a schema you have to create another file. But with TypeGraphql just makes it easier for us to generate it with ordinary TypeGraphql classes. Like this is a TypeGraphql. I said sorry. This is an ordinary TypeScript class. So let's go with it. Let's for this let's go with okay. Let's write our first schema. So in this crash course we're going to make use of a random user. Like okay, let's create an entities. Okay, user.ts. Okay, now we want to generate our user schema. To generate our user schema, first of all, according to TypeGraphql, as I said earlier, the aim is to generate user schema from ordinary TypeScript classes. Okay, so let's so from a user, what are the data you collect from a user? We collect their, let's say, first name. Okay, let's say their last name. Let's say their age. Let's see probably if the account is confirmed or not. So I just want to collect like strings, numbers, and booleans. And let's collect their email. Yeah. So let's generate a GraphQL schema for our user here. So to do that, we just have to say class user. Okay, now that's our user class. So we can generate first name type of string. Okay, last name type of string, age type of number. Yeah, confirmed the boolean, that's confirmed to be true or false boolean. And let's put email type of a string. So let's not forget the user ID also. Yeah, ID type of number. Yeah, so basically we just have a TypeScript class here. So to generate the schema, you have to pass in the object type decorator, and this comes from TypeGraphql itself. So this object type kind of mimics GraphQL object type. If everything here GraphQL, it kind of mimics GraphQL object type, trying to say this is an object type, this class is an object type. So to make all this a GraphQL field, for now it's not a GraphQL. To make all this a GraphQL field, you have to pass the field decorator above it also. That's field, and that's coming from TypeGraphql. So P and now this is a GraphQL schema. So let's export class user. All right, so you can pass in I don't know what to call it, but you can pass in, people call it parameters, or I don't know, but you can pass in stuff into the field decorator, like you can pass in the complexity, default value, description, name, no label, and stuff like that, but it's not important. And also in the object type, you can pass in your description, let's say personal description, just to like, okay, user schema. Yep. So in the field you can also pass in, okay, let's say we don't want our nullable false. That's our ID must not be null, null. Here also label false. Okay, let's pass it to all. Label false. It's not compulsory, to be honest, but just to teach you, or you can pass it to the field label false. I don't know if you guys are getting me though. Label. I keep typing. Last one. Label false. Okay. So voila, I've created our first GraphQL schema from an ordinary TypeScript class. Let's hop into the documentation and see what they have there. Yes, we wrote in an ordinary TypeScript class, then added the object type decorator. Yeah, mix the GraphQL object type and added the field decorator. Yeah, so now that's basically how to create a GraphQL. That's basically how to create a GraphQL schema from ordinary TypeScript type GraphQL. Okay. Let's see. All right. So basically TypeGraphqL makes us do this easily, but if we were to write an ordinary, if we were to write this with ordinary TypeScript, it's going to be like stressful. Okay, so let's see. All right, so I've written our first GraphQL schema with TypeGraphqL. So it was easy with TypeGraphqL. This is the main thing TypeGraphqL tries to like portray. Okay, so let's go through writing resolvers. Okay, I already created entities inside resolver. No, entities are supposed to be inside source. So let me move the file up. Not supposed to be inside resolvers. Okay. Alright. Okay. So let's start our server and see what's going on. Yarn start. Alright. Let's wait for our server to start. Okay, so let's go with a new localhost /GraphQL as your server is running now. Okay, no. All right, schema, hello string. Okay, I'm not passing a schema. This is going. All right. Okay, so our server is working quite fine. So now let's go into let's see. Okay, you could also pass in your names to, you can also pass names to your field resolvers. You could also pass your description and type. So all right, so let's see how we write resolvers. That's the main thing. Okay, so I'm going to be teaching you how to like write queries and mutations with TypeGraphql. All right, so queries. So using TypeGraphql allows us to easily create queries and mutations using the same paradigm like through TypeScript classes. So basically all they do for us is using TypeScript classes to create what we need. So all right, so let's go back and create our first resolver. This hello resolver is just a boiler, just Let's just hold steady. So let's create a resolver for our user. So let's create a resolver. User dot ts. Okay. So to create a resolver, first of all, we need the class. So class user resolver. Okay. Then we have to decorate it with the resolver class as usual. Resolver. So the resolver class coming from TypeGraphql. Yep. Okay, yeah. Come from TypeGraphql. Alright. So basically we now have our first resolver here. Okay. So I think we need to export this and we need to, okay, let's go. Oh, all right. So now this is basically what we just need for resolver. I need to pass in the type of resolver. So type of resolver will be like user. All right. We need to import the user. Okay. All right. So first of all, we need a query. We need to like, okay. Now everything is over. This is just how to write the basic resolver in with TypeGraphql. So now we need, now I'm going to teach you how to write queries with TypeGraphql. It's pretty easy, pretty the same thing. We need a function, an SQL function as async users. So now let's write a query to get all the users we have. Probably this will be on the normal, like in a normal production application, this will be connected to a database. But in our use case, we're not connecting to a database. Probably I'll make another video teaching how to like connect to a database, but in this tutorial we're not connecting to a database yet, just basics of TypeGraphql. But probably in the future we can move forward. I can teach you how to connect to a Pro server experience, then to a database, and writing authentication with TypeGraphql and stuff like that. So yeah, yes, I'm a GraphQL fanboy. Yeah, I love GraphQL. So okay, now we have to decorate async. Oh, I didn't spell it right. Async. Like that. Sync. And now you guessed it. We have to use the query decorator also. Yep. So now we get, since we're not connected to a database, we could initialize probably user array to mimic a database. So let's say const users equals to an array of users. Okay, to make it rhyme, we need, let's make it as user, so you can know what I say. Okay, first of all, we need the ID. We just use a mat or random, so just generate a random for the ID. Okay, we need first name. Let's use the first name. Let's do Jane. Last name. Let's do let's use the age 30. Okay, and confirmed. Let's make this true. All right. Now let's create another user. Okay, ID mouse dot random also. Okay, first name John. Okay, last name to page. let's do confirm of, let's make this, yeah, scroll one more. So id dot and first name. So and then use Alex last name is page 5 confirm, confirmed. Can we pass as user? Yes. User. Oh. Let's see. User is missing the following properties: type, user ID. Okay. Okay, so I don't think we need this anymore. We don't need this anymore. But email is missing. Ah, cool. Email, yeah. Yeah, the email. Okay. Gmail.com. Yeah. Sorry if I'm boring anyone typing it out. Alex.com. Okay. So now this basically is mimicking the user from our database. So I pass the user type here, so it knows that okay, our user is going to be generated from the TypeScript class of the user. Alright. So got to use it here, okay. So now we need all the users. So if this is like a production app, like a real app, I'm going to write all the logic here for your user. Logic to get all your users. So basically this is not, so to get our user you just have to return users. Okay, so to follow real types, to be a good boy, you also pass your promise here, promise, and tell it what you're expecting. Okay, you're expecting a user, an array of user, version be will also be null if you don't have any user. Pass it here to our query also. You are expecting an array of users, user pass nullable, yeah, true. So we could get null or we could get users. So we could also pass more stuffs here. Complexity, defaulting complexity, as I think that's to do with how many times you call the query or something like that. But you check the documentation. Description, like describe what is your query do. So okay, we have an error here, cannot find name users. Yeah, I need user. Alright, basically we have written our first query. Okay, let's just start our server. All right, server starting. Okay, server started. Then let's check. Okay, let's see our schema. Nope. Okay, docs. Others. Oh, all right. So we have a mistake there. So first of all, okay, I know what's wrong. First of all, we have to add our Apollo needs to see our resolver. So let's delete this resolver. Okay, don't need that resolver again. Okay, so delete it. Okay, so yeah, Apollo needs to get a resolver. So we're going to be importing this user resolver here. So after user resolvers, okay, that should work. Server is starting. Error. Okay, cannot find module source entities user. Require programming source. Okay. Error is from here. Okay, let's see. Okay, cannot find source entities user. Why it's there now? Okay, let's try. See what happens. All right, our server started successfully. Oh, so I think you have to use like import it from. I don't know if this is a general problem, but if you get that kind of error, change it to this kind of input. Okay, let's go back there. Yeah, our server is working fine now. We can look into our schema. So now this is schema. You can use this place to check your schema and also yeah, if you want to check your, I'll go to the docs part later, but schema, this is schema we generated from this. Okay, this is the schema we generated from this. Yeah, so this is schema we generated from it. TypeGraphql generated this schema for us, and also our query returned the users. This is it here. Yeah, this is it. So now let's check out the docs. So the doc is basically showing us if we have multiple queries or mutations or subscriptions and stuff like that, then we can check them out here. This is the user query, and this was the user query returning and stuff like that. Okay, now let's test out our user query. So we can do query and we need the users, our users ID, need their first name, last name, age, email, and confirmed. So right now we get our users as defined. Get our users are defined up here. So just take this as like a database. Let's say this is a MongoDB database or Postgres database or something like that. So we're grabbing our users from the database. This is it over here. All right. And if you're making a query, this is just a tip. You could also remove this. It's the same thing as writing the query, but you could also remove this. It works well also. So no errors also, yeah. Also. Okay, so basically this is how you write a basic query. What's happening here is this query, we're expecting this query. First of all, let me start from resolver level. So this resolver is a resolver for the user schema. This resolver is a resolver for the user schema. That's what we're trying to tell you. So we're exporting the resolver over here. We're telling the resolver class over here. So we're writing our first query to return all our users from the database. So we're taking this as database. This array we mentioned as database. So basically here we're trying to tell the query that we're expecting an array of this user. We're expecting an array of this user, and the nullable can be true in case we don't have any user. So in case we don't have any user in our database or nobody has signed up or stuff like that, this could be null. And we're trying to pass on a promise to this asynchronous function telling it we're also accepting an array of user that could be null. Basically the same thing here, but it's not compulsory, but just good TypeScript practice. Okay, so now let's go into more advanced queries. So now we need a query to what can we do? Okay, let's return a particular user. All right, so as we said before, first of all, write our asynchronous function async users. Okay, so now decorate with our query decorator, query decorator. Okay, okay, so basically what, no, not users, I meant user, a single user. We need a single user. Basically what we need here is we need a single user entity. So over here we're getting all our users, but now we just need a user. So to grab a user we need a unique identifier, so we need to use the ID to check up the user from database. So okay, so when I say database, I mean this array. Actually this array we made up here. Yep, when I say database, that's what I mean. All right, so to get that, first of all we have to like pass in, okay, tell our query that we're expecting this query to return the user. Previously here we're returning an array of users, but here we're returning a user, and could have user be nullable? Yeah, it could be null. In the real world we have user not returned or not found. User was not found. Okay, that's not user. Okay, let's also make a promise here. Promise we're expecting the user it could also be null. Okay, promise let me see, sorry, where we have it? Property decorator, let me see, functions declare null void mode. Okay, we're having this error due to the fact that we have not returned anything. Okay, to get the user we have to pass in the ID. So let's hop into TypeGraphql database. So okay, argument. So we have to pass in argument. This in TypeGraphql we have what we call arguments. Arguments are basically like, for example, in functions, arguments you passed, like we all know arguments. So to like, okay, let's read their docs. Usually queries have some arguments. It might be of ID of a resource, search phrase, or pagination settings. TypeGraphql allows to define arguments in two ways. Arrogant. Okay, basically we have to pass in our argument. Arguments are what we could use in our query or our mutations. Mutation we'll get to soon. But arguments are basically what we can use in our query to like pass in values the query needs to work. Okay, so over here we need our argument. To use our argument, we have to use the argument decorator class. Argument decorator class. Yeah. The argument decorator class. You just give it a random name. Let's say data and no, let's use it. Let's do ID, user ID, and to be a user ID and sorry for that. It be a user ID. Okay. So yeah. Okay, let's copy to the docs and see how they did it. Okay, title. Okay. The ID is going to be type of ID is going to be a number. Sorry, it's going to be a number. Yeah. All right. Well, getting a load of errors. So first of all, we need to find the user. So once user goes to users dot find, need one user. We need to find the user where the user dot ID equals to ID we have in the argument. Then need to return user. Okay, we need to return the user. Yeah. So let's see, where else are we having? The return type property decorator function was neither be void or any. Unable to resolve signature property. Resolve signature property decorator may cause an expression. What's going on here? The user. Oh, async. Wrong spelling. Sync. Yeah. We have to return user type user undefined. Now says we type user no. Okay, so we have to pass undefined here also. Defined. Okay, that solves it. Alright, so let's see what server is running. It's running fine over here. Now try and get all our users. Let's try and get a user. So, user, what's the ID? Let's copy an ID from here. Okay, let's grab Alex Davis. Okay. Let's grab all these details. Null. Why is it null? Did we not copy 3550 ID, first name, last name, age? Are we doing something? Let's check our schema, check our docs. So we have this new user query. User is called user and ID. Yeah, it shouldn't be null. Okay, so let's go through the work together. Take us user, because users dot find user, where user ID equals to the ID passed in. Return user. Let's try and console log our user. Log our user and see what's wrong. See if we're getting the user. The server started. Undefined. All weird. Undefined. Users dot find user where user ID equals ID. What are we doing wrong now? What are we doing wrong? Argument ID. Are we importing argument from any other place? No. So user ID null or undefined. User equals users dot find user, when the user will use the user ID, user ID is equal to ID passed into it. Is anything wrong? Let's see. Okay, let's copy any other person user ID. All right, so we're getting the user here now. So what was wrong with the Alex guy? Okay, this is working now. Notice how we don't have an error in our code. What was wrong with this Alex guy? Let me test it again. Probably I didn't copy it well. Oh yeah, I didn't copy the ID well. Okay, I made a mistake there. Okay, so let's go on. So if you look at the docs, now we have two queries. First query to grab all our users, and second query to grab a user. So all right, so let's say we want to grab a user, then compare the user's name with compare the user's name to compare the user we grabbed first name to a value. Okay, let's try that out. Okay, let's bring down the argument. Okay, okay. Argument first name first name first name is the type of a string. Okay. Yep. Let's pass in the command. Okay, now we have a user here. Let's see, did we console? Okay, yeah. We have a user here. Now we want to compare it. So let's say if first name equals to the user we got dot first name, just return the user. Just return the user, or else just return no. Okay, we don't need it again. Okay, this will work, right? Okay, let's so now our GraphQL is expecting the first name. Let's put in Alex. Okay, null. What is that do we use? I think we use Jane, not Jane. John, and then did you break anything? Users. I think it generates new unique IDs every time. Choose as you copy the one of Jane. Okay. Yeah, so we have got Jane here. So when we try John, it won't work because the user first name is not equals to the one we're grabbing. So now we have two arguments here. So let's say we want to add another argument. Before time, it's going to like cluster up and fill this place too much. Like we'll start having multiple arguments here being too much. So TypeGraphql provides an argument type decorator to summarize our arguments to one type. So let's test that out. So we have to just let's create a type. Let's create types. So let's go create a types.ts file outside here and write our let's say class, let's say user arguments. Okay, user arguments. Let's do as user. Let's copy. This is user. So let's know what we want. Okay, we need that CGI. Let's just pass user IP. It work right. Expected. Okay, let's just see. Okay, in our user argument, what arguments do we want? We're expecting. Oh, turns out we don't need the user type, we don't need this at all. Okay. First of all, we need our user ID, which is a number, and we need our first name, which is a string. Now we have to make it separate with the field, so GraphQL knows a field property. So, alright. Now, to make this an argument, we have to decorate it with the arg. Not decorate it args type to make it tell them it's an argument. So now let's export our export class user arg. I don't know if you guys are getting me. So probably if you have any questions, you could put in the comment section. I'll try to answer them all. Okay, and if you have anything if you want to complain about anything I did wrong, you could also put in the comment section. Let's try to answer them. Now we can get rid of, since we now have this here, now we can get rid of this. We can get rid of this and use the args type. So we just have to use the decorator. Args. Okay. That's the decorator args. Okay. Importing args from TypeGraphql. I don't think we need this arg anymore. So this args, then passing what we need. So the data we're going to need is coming from the user args we created earlier from this user args. So yeah, that's what we need. So we could just do data.id and data.firstname. So it's going to work the same way. So let's see if it works the same way. Okay, it failed. So oh, the same error. Okay, types user. We got the same error of not time the import error stuff. Okay, let's see. Yeah, server started properly. Okay, now find a module class-validator. Yeah, we're not using class-validator, so what's going on? Okay, I think introduction, installation. Let's see. Okay, according to TypeGraphql, we need this class validator. Yeah, we need this class validator according to TypeGraphql. And later I'm going to be explaining what you can use this class validator for and what we just have to install class validator to use for that. Okay, so let's start server again. Work fine now. Yes, fingers crossed. Our server should work fine now. Okay, server started. Let's hop into Chrome. Users know that's generated already. You know what? Let's just change the idea. Let's fix the idea ourselves. So the idea ourselves. So um, 2 and 3. Okay, that should do the trick. So assume our John should be our second user. Oh, mistake. I'm correct. John should be our second user. Yeah, to change our second user. So basically, um, we have summarized args here. We have summarized the arguments here. So we don't have to like keep adding more arguments. So if we want to add more arguments, we just have to go to the types here and argument we want over here. So you could also, if you don't, you could also destructure it and grab the first name and first name and the ID. So you don't have to use data here. Yeah. So based on a choice of preference. Okay, you work fine. Yeah, it should still work fine. Yeah, still working fine. Let's try another user. Let's try Alex. Alex should be 3. Alex, yeah. Alex, yeah, works fine. Let's input a valid name. Yeah, yeah, user is no now. Okay, now so basically that's it about argument. Now let me just chip this in. So for that class validator is basically like they give class validator gives us some validation options we can use. For example, let's import from class validator. Okay, let's see, allow array min size. Okay, plus min length. We can get min length from class validator. Let's assume we need it here. So we need the min length. We pass it in here. I think no. Okay, we pass as decorator here, like min length should be 1. That's minimum length should be 1. Let's get rid of this. Okay, I've got rid of that. I think, yeah. Welcome. Let's restart our server. Okay, let's see. So class valid basically some validation options for us to use out of the box from TypeGraphql. You could also check their warehouse server stats. You could also check their docs for that. Installation class validator. Let's see. Class validator, yeah. The class validator, you pass max length. What do you want max length of a GraphQL field should be, the length and stuff like that. So it just gives you out of the box validation. Okay. So hop into our GraphQL. Let's reload. Yeah, it should be working. When we remove the first name, let's A, automatically give us argument validation error. Yeah, this is the error. Main length. First name must be longer or equals to 1 character. This is coming from class-validator. So when we put 1, let's just put in A, then returns null. So now we're passing class validator because we set class validator over here to, let's see, set class validator over here to min length of 1. So now that I've passed in a min length of 1, now returns null. Now I've gone through class validator. Alright, basically that's what class validator is, and it's basically self-explanatory. Okay, so let's move forward. Alright, so I've looked into queries and seen how to like tidy up our arguments when we're using queries. Now let's go into mutations. Okay, now to create a mutation is basically like a query. So let's create a mutation to add a user to the database. Okay, so you can just do async add user, okay, you guessed it. I'm going to add a mutation decorator, mutation that's coming from TypeGraphql over here. So mine just automatically imports it for me. We need a mutation, and also we need to tell it that okay, we are going to return the user. Yep. So the user we're going to add, we're going to get it returned to us. Okay, so returning the user, we'll also make a promise here. Promise to return. Promise we need a user. So we need a user after the mutation was run, finished. So basically, the user does not need to be null, because for sure we're going to return the user when we add a user. Adding a user, basically we must have a user to add the user, so it does not have to be nullable. We don't have to make it null. Alright, so let's say const. Okay, for user we need a lot of arguments. So for user we need a lot of arguments. We need our argument. Okay, we need the, for user we need the first name, first name, string. Let's just copy this. We need first name, we need last name, we need email, age, confirmed. Yeah, first name, in the last name, we need the email, okay, we need the age, the age being a number, we need confirmed be a boolean. Oh no. Then name it confirm or confirm. Let's see. Okay, confirmed. Yeah, confirmed. That being boolean. Okay, so basically our new user, new Our new user is going to consist of this. So for our new user, let's make it a type of user. Type of user. Okay. So your user is going to say, okay, I have an ID. You can make the ID mad or random now. Math dot random. Okay, our new user needs age, confirm, email, first name, last name. Then we can push it to our users array. So basically, take this as adding to a database, push the users array there. Then return our new user, return our new user. Okay, let's check if our server is running. Okay, so now I check our docs. Now we have a mutation. These are our queries. Now we have a mutation. Our mutation is taking all this and return a new user. So now let's add a new user. We'll just have a schema. So let's add a new user. So for mutation, it's compulsory passing the mutation keyword there. So new, the add user, add user. Add user is taking an age of 12, confirmed, this is true. Email new at new.com, email confirmed age, last name new, and first name new one. Order does not matter, just make sure you pass it. Right. And now what do we need from the user? We need ID, first name, last name, age, email, and confirm. Reply this. Okay, yeah. So alright, now this is our new user. Our new user new one. We can check him the users array. Okay, now this is our new user added to the database. So we can now check our new user. Okay. So the ID of the new user and new one, I think. Alright, so this is our new user now. New user has been added to the database. Okay, now if you notice in our mutation, we have too much argument lined up. If we were to collect more data from the user than this, it's going to be more. So to clean this up like this, we need to go to our types and make a decorator type. So let's export class user input design input. So what fields do we need? Field what do we need? We need the let's split up the screen. User okay, fields we need the first name, the string, the first name is a string, first name is a string. Need the last name, It's also a string. Okay, we need the email. Email is a string. What also do we need? Okay, we need the age. Oh, it's not the age field. We need the age string. Oh, we need the age string, and we also need the first name, last name, email, age, and we need the confirmed. And Boolean. Oh, our age should be a number. So according to TypeGraphql, for mutations, it's better to use the input type for mutation. Input type comes from TypeGraphql also. So checking according to TypeGraphql. Let's go. Test and resolvers. Let's go down to input type. So input type, GraphQL mutation can be similarly created. The class decoration, okay. Basically here, this GraphQL mutation can similarly be created. Declare the class method and use mutation decorates or type. Since TypeGraph allows to create inputs the same way as object types, we're using the input type decorator. So for mutations, it's better to use the input type decoration instead of for queries, use the args type. Okay. So now I clear this up. I clear this up and add the use the arg pressing the data and user input. I think that's what we call it there. Yeah, user input. So let's make sure it's not coming from source again. Okay, it's coming from types here. So user input. Okay. So now you can destructure what we need from here. And structure the age, and structure the confirmed, email, first name, and last name. Yeah. So that should also work perfectly. Okay. Let's add another new comma. Let's add. Okay, now we have to add the data define. So the data we added here is from this. So we have to pass in data before our argument. So now let's add a new user. 2 and new 2. New 2 has been added. Users. Okay. Now we have our new 2 in the database. We can get our new 2 user. Let's grab the ID and over here. Okay, now new 2. Now we now have new 2 stored in the database. Okay, let's hop back into it. Okay, basically that's all about the basics of TypeGraphql. I've taught you how to write queries, write mutations, create your schemas, and one more thing. Okay, so when we go to our let's check our schema. Okay, let's say for instance you want to store a user's password and you don't want it to show over in the GraphQL playground. You don't want to be able to access it over here. You don't have access to it at all. You could remove this field object over it. So now I've removed the field decorator, sorry, over the from the confirm. Now we can't access the confirm. When we go back there and we try to access it, okay, let's see what server started. Okay, now you can access the confirm anywhere the user. So confirm, when we try to access confirm, it gives an error, yeah, where it cannot be accessed. So we can access confirm also. That's because it's not more a GraphQL field. It's not more a GraphQL field in schema anymore. When you check the docs, users confirmed can't be accessed anymore. Users, it's not returning confirmed anymore. Yeah. And when you check the schema, ID float email, so confirmed is still there. So basically, you use that in places where you want to don't want to access your user's password or something confidential in your code or stuff like that. Okay. And also you can make somewhere nullable. Let's say for example, let's see, for example, your user entity, let's return the user. In your user entity, the age is not compulsory. You just add the question mark in front of the age here and make the nullable equals to true. Okay. And now types, we'll also add it over here. Okay. You could pass nullable true if you want here, but it's not necessary, it's not compulsory actually. And over here, user.ts nullable true. Here, okay. Now nullable true. Okay. Now, if you want to create a user now, and we don't, okay, add user. Okay, now I want to create a user. Let's create a user new 3, and I don't wish to pass in the age, any age value for it. It doesn't yell at me. Let's reload. Data user data user input. Okay, let's check. I think something is wrong. User ID, user types, user input asks age, number. Yep, not necessary. Reload. Let's see the error it gives us. The user input of required type float was not provided. Okay, let's see. Here, number, it's not needed. Add user, age, data, user input types, user input number. Let's pass nullable true. So I think it's compulsory. Let's see, nullable true. Okay, turns out that's compulsory. We have to pass the nullable true the GraphQL field. Okay, now I can create my user without any age. Age now is null. Create my user without any age now. So when you try to access users, now age is null. So just the simple stuff there. Okay guys, I've come to the end of our TypeGraphql tutorial. If you have any questions, if you have questions for me, tell me, comment down in the comment section. I'll try to answer it all. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and also if you want more on TypeGraphql connecting to Apollo and the database, you can comment below. Okay guys, see you later. Bye.